Everybody here is very worried that we're going to see more delays, more stresses on the people who are actually making the aviation system run, and more problems for both the consumers but also the great workers who actually make this incredible shining jewel of the American economy actually work and work on time and work safely.
As this shutdown continues, you're going to see more pressure on controllers, more pressure on TSA workers, and that's going to have real impact.
That's Vice President J.D. Vance and Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy out after a roundtable with the airline industry. We have already seen major ground delays at Orlando, Newark, and Reagan National airports this week as the historic shutdown fuels staffing issues. People are calling in sick. The CEOs of United, Delta, American, and Southwest Airlines are all calling on Congress to approve the Republican-backed clean funding bill to reopen this government. Joining me now is the president and CEO of Airlines for America and former New Hampshire governor, Chris Sununu. Governor, good to see you. Thanks for being here. You were at the roundtable this week with the vice president and transportation secretary, warning of holiday travel disasters if this continues. How do you see things?
Well, look, I want to address that roundtable because it was really interesting. The vice president first was asking all the right questions, right? He was asking about the individuals. He's asking about the families, the economic impact of what was happening. Along with the airlines, he brought in the heads of all the different unions that represent these families that are going to have a second zero paycheck in the next coming days, assuming nothing gets sorted out in the next 48 hours here, which it doesn't look like it's going to. And he's asking about those families. What happens when the kids can't sign up for fall sports? I mean, what's the morale like? How, when someone goes home and has to explain to their spouse, I did another overtime shift and didn't get paid for the 30th day in a row when they're living paycheck to paycheck, that's really, really hard. It's not just the air traffic controllers. It's TSA. TSA typically, some of those folks might get 30, 40, 50,000 a year if they're lucky. They are not very highly paid. So the economic impact on those individuals is even bigger than a lot of other traditional government workers. But the slowdown is there. People, we don't have the cancellations. We have the delays. The skies are safe. That's the other issue that I think everyone wanted to, people should continue to book travel. The skies are safe. There may be some delays here. We are seeing some pullback of those bookings. And usually when, as Scott Kirby and Robert Isom of United and American Airlines were explaining to the vice president, usually those are lead indicators for a broader economic. I'm not saying there's going to be a recession, but there's going to be broader economic pullback without a doubt, given that, all this money is effectively being held up and people are having to make some very tough family decisions right now, paycheck to paycheck. So they asked all the right questions. It was very broad. And the final message is this, if I may. This is nonpartisan. It's actually nonpartisan. Just as many Republicans and Democrat workers are getting affected, just as many Republicans and Democrats get delayed on their flights. And more importantly, there's a precedent that nobody wants to set here. If the Republicans were to say, you get everything you want, Democrats,
yeah,
we'll renegotiate everything you want right now, then guess what? 3 months from now, it's going to happen again and again and again. And now the airlines especially become linchpins for keeping government open. We don't want to be in that position.
Well, look, I don't know what the Republicans can do at this point. I mean, the president is floating the idea of getting rid of the filibuster because he recognizes that this is very quickly becoming a major economic problem. When you've got issues and questions about air travel and TSA agents and air traffic control calling in sick, working without pay, you're going to have an issue in the air. People are afraid if it's even safe to fly right now. This can very quickly go from a government shutdown to an economic shutdown. How worried are you about the broader impact on the economy?
Very, very significant, especially as you're going into the holidays. The safety issue we are very confident about. I really think that's important. It is absolutely safe to fly. That's why there are delays, right? Because we slow the system down to ensure the safety. But the economic impact piece is very, very significant because we're not just talking about 50,000 workers here or 100,000 workers. There are millions of people just in the airline industry, never mind all the other government agencies and everything that get shut down, where workers are being furloughed, not just in Washington, but all across the country. The big one, I think, this weekend is SNAP benefits. I mean, you have hungry people. It's one thing when your flight is delayed, but when you have a hungry family, a mom and their kids that aren't getting their SNAP benefits in states all across the country, that's real. That hits home hard. And why are we doing it? Because the Democrats want to do this very unprecedented thing of renegotiating massive health care. I think all that should be, the president has even said, we should talk about health care. Of course we should, but you don't hold government hostage to get what you want in that moment. The precedent that would set both on both sides of the aisle, both today and long term for this country, would be disastrous. And then you create uncertainty in the economy. Every time there's a significant issue, the market is going to go, uh-oh, I guess one side or the other is going to shut everything down because they're not getting what they want.
I've got to believe that there are Democrats who want to now be done with this and open government, but they're probably getting bullied by leadership to say, if you break with us, then we will primary you. And we will ensure that there is competition when you're up for re-election. Because it's incredible to me that only 2 Democrats have voted with Republicans and 1 independent have voted with the Republicans. The Republicans need 5 more Democrat senators to vote to open this government, and they have not been able to find it 13 times. Unbelievable. Governor, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here this weekend.
Thank you.